Hi folks, my name is Korleki and I am a graduate researcher at Harvard. Today I'm going to share with you my work studying the behaviors of mice when they encounter things that are new. Let's get started. Imagine with me for a moment that you're a little mouse wandering around your neighborhood. You pass by a lot of things that are familiar, like that bush next to your burrow, or the puddle that you get water from every day. But one day, while you're out exploring, you come across this. What the heck is that? You've never seen it before in your life. Can it hurt you? It looks sharp like a cactus. Can you eat it? You can't really tell from far away. What should you do? This is an example of an animal encountering novelty. Now, typically, we think of novelty as seeing something that's new. So the object in our example is novel to the mouse because the mouse has never seen it before. When I started my project, I was interested to know how animals respond to novelty. After all, if you're too curious in a new thing and that thing turns out to be a predator, that could end up being a costly mistake. But on the other hand, if you're too cautious and you're afraid of everything, you're going to certainly miss out on good things like food or water. You can see how it's important for animals to choose wisely how they respond to things that are new. Now, beyond just observing the animals' responses, I also wanted to measure or size up their responses using the latest advances in technology. First, I set up an arena in which the animal, in this case a mouse, could explore. Then, I put an object in the arena that you and I have probably seen before, but the mice definitely haven't. A Lego. The Lego was the new or novel thing that the mice would encounter in my experiment. Then I recorded their movements in the arena with an overhead camera. And finally, it was time for analysis. For those who are interested, this is what my arena actually looks like in lab. The way scientists used to study behavior was by watching the mice as they did a task and writing down whenever they saw the mice exhibiting a specific behavior. But now, we have a tool that makes it way easier to figure out what the mice are doing, and that tool is machine learning. You may have heard of machine learning before, with the robots that can play soccer, or the computers that can beat the pros at games like chess or Go, even self-driving cars. Except instead of teaching my computers to play sports or to drive, I'm teaching them to track the position of mice in a video, or to recognize patterns in their behavior. After learning, my computer will be able to tell me the position of different body parts of the mouse, like the nose, ears, or tail. And they'll also be able to tell me the behavior pattern that is happening at any given point in time, like right now the mouse is turning left, or right now the mouse is approaching the object. By tracking the mice when they first see the Lego, I found that they tended to stay away from it at first. But over time, as the Lego became more and more familiar, the mice would spend more time near it. I also saw that mice would repeat certain behaviors as they approached the object. And these were things like approaching cautiously and then making a speedy retreat. Essentially, it seems like the mouse is trying to figure out if this new thing poses a threat to it or not. So, what do we do with this information? Well, one question that I have relates to the concept of novelty itself. Bear with me here. What if, instead of doing all the experiments I just mentioned, first I put the Lego in their home cage? This is the space where they spend the majority of their time eating, sleeping, whatever. And I let them get used to the Lego in that space. And then after that, I put them in the arena with the Lego. Well, my question to you is this. Is the Lego still novel, even though the mouse has encountered it before, but they encountered it in a different space? And the answer would be yes, but not in the same way that I first described novelty to you. What we're testing in this case is actually an entirely different kind of novelty, and it's called contextual novelty. Now, it's called that because the animal encounters the object, the Lego, in the home cage, in that space, but not in the context of the arena. So you're taking an object that's familiar and you're combining it with something else to make an entirely new experience. Hence, contextual novelty. All right, so what's the question that we want to ask? Well, my question is this: do mice behave differently to different kinds of novelty? And the answer to the question is yes, they do. Mice were much quicker to approach and interact with the object when they'd seen it before in a different context. And when they did approach, they showed less of the cautious approach, rapid retreat behavior that was so characteristic of those mice that had never seen the object before. So, knowing all of this, let's circle back to our example from the beginning of the mouse wandering around its little neighborhood. It's confronted with this mysterious new object, and it is faced with a choice. Should it approach, or should it run away? Maybe it does a little bit of both. Approach and retreat, assessing the risk, until eventually it realizes this thing isn't a threat at all. It's a fruit. A durian, in fact, which is a little stinky, but it's edible. So in the end, our little mouse is relieved, and it's happy to have found a new treat.